Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
And good evening to you. Good evening, I'm your host, Ed McQueen. And of course, none other than Ms. Garner as our co-host. We want to smile about a lot of things, but this has been a heck of a week for the community and a lot. So, but we did want to get over to you some things that were happening in the past week. And we wanted to start with our magazine. I mean, with the events in the magazine. However, we will begin with a slight memorial for a few minutes of one of our pillars of the community that we lost. We call her a pillar, and she's definitely a giant in the community. And just wanted to say a few things about her. We're talking about none other than Miss Annis Alston Staley. She was the president, or the current president, of the Whittemore Alumni Association. That's one of our dear organizations that is really cherished in the community, trying to keeping the legacy alive. And the magazine has been supporting them very well in propagating, so to speak, all the information, not all of it, but a lot of the information that they're engaged in, and activity that they're engaged in. So I would just want to start off with just for a few minutes, to put up maybe just run a few photos by you, and kind of let you know what's going on and so forth. So, and this is primarily from the World Community Magazine. Okay, I've only talked with a couple of people from the Whittemore Alumni Association, and from what I've talked to, it was a great idea, since her service of Ms. Annis Alston is this coming Friday, and of course our next broadcast isn't until next Tuesday. So, April, if we could start, if we could put up the poster, who we're talking about, really, in loving memory to Ms. Annis Alston Staley. She's the class of 63. And I guess the photo will let everybody know that you know exactly who we're talking about. If those of you who didn't know, she was serving as the president of the Whittemore Alumni Association. And Staley died suddenly of, we're going to say a heart attack over here, but just a sudden death that occurred. And we certainly want to send our condolences to the family. And if you'd like to say some things, you can send them in the comment, in the comments, and we'll be glad to just post them for you. Okay. So there are some photos that kind of shows a good reflection of her activities, and first of all, she was Miss Whittemore, as you can see, class of 63. And we have just a few photos that we'd like to share with you regarding her activity as that. It was celebrated at their, I think it was the 40th, 50th anniversary in 40th anniversary in 2003. They showed Miss Alston Staley as once again wearing her crown. So if we have that, I'd like to see if we can put that up.
I I'll just go through the slideshow, Brother
Yeah.
Edward, and you can explain what they're seeing on the
Okay.
show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you do? Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. 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 This is Annis. I'm going to say Annis from here on out. We've known her as that. So this Annis with her husband, her marriage that took place a number of years back, and her husband, Mr. Harry Staley. She's there from the gate, and of course her in the middle there, and one of the best photos I've seen of her in a long, it's one on the right with her wearing her dress, a blue outfit, and these are just stunning photos. So yeah, and of course there she is. Miss Whittemore in 1963 in color. And as I said earlier, she came back in 2003 to wear that crown once more at their apparently 40th anniversary. And there she is. She was wearing her crown once again. So. And this is a poster this is actually 24 inches by 36 inches. Okay, it's a pretty huge poster, and it comes with a collage of all of her classmates that she held so dear to, all of them, and shows her as Miss Whittemore there on the left, and again, Miss Whittemore again in 2003. Of course, that's the school at the bottom. So this poster will be is scheduled to be at the viewing on an easel. It was scheduled to be at the viewing, and this Thursday from 2 to 6 p.m. at the Latimer Funeral Home in Conway. And we thought it was fitting to present that, and it's an appreciation poster, as you can see there, with all of her classmates. It's you're looking at small on the screen now, but try to envision 36-inch wide poster by 2 feet high, and there you'll have it. So at the viewing, again from 2 to 6 p.m. this Thursday at Latimer Funeral Home. You can see this on an easel. We'll have it on the easel there. And this is her celebration. More information on her celebration. What I just said, where the visitation would be is Thursday from 2 to 6 p.m. The Latimer Funeral Home. Friday is when the funeral is going to be. It's going to be at the Bethlehem No. 1 Missionary Baptist Church on the mighty Sand Ridge area of Conway, South Carolina. And just to give you a little chronology on my knowledge of Miss Alston Staley. Of course, we've always called her Annis. I guess I've known her since I don't know, 63, I guess 62, something like that. She took a job at McDonald's in I think it was Michigan, I believe, where she got a hold and took a certain departments of McDonald's, which was one of their headquarters, or not the headquarters, in Michigan, and just took a hold of not everything, but enough to spread her wings and become one of the executives at McDonald's in Michigan, and she just continued to soar in those positions, and these were coveted positions, by the way, for somebody on to McDonald's in Michigan. And one of the reasons why one of the among other things, the reason why we're kind of memorializing her today on the program is that her impact has just been the magnitude of her impact is just enormous. That she's had since coming back to Conway. She was living in Charleston, however, but she was traveling back and forth to Conway, which is her home, and to do whatever she could to not just keep the legacy alive on Whitty Moore, but do other things in the community. She was also in real estate, and must have gained an impeccable reputation there in real estate, because all you can hear are just good things about her. So with respect to the magazine, we're going to miss her dearly. Dearly. I find it difficult to get over. So the only way that I could think of and kind of keeping her in memory is to have what we're saying about her today, and let our audience know how much we missed her, and how much we're going to miss her. You're probably going to see the lessen the impact of that. So, and I can't really, again, the caveat here is that from the magazine perspective, we're not speaking for the Whitty Moore Alumni Association, but we are for sure sending our condolences, and know what, since we worked with her so closely, and I personally worked with her so closely in the past on developing things with the Whitty Moore Alumni Association. I would be remiss if I'd passed up on this opportunity to do this and let our audience know. So again, if you have any comments that you want to send in, certainly feel free to send them in, and I'm sure her family, if her family is listening or looking or viewing this, they'll certainly appreciate that. So again, our condolences to the family from the World Community Magazine. And we're going to, do we have any more photos of her, April, that we think that the audience would like to view?
I have another photo that I can pull as well. But keep talking, Brother Edwards. It's going to take me some time to do that.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. But in the meantime, I should send this caveat again, without having any full, huge discussions with the Whitty Moore Alumni Association, because we do respect that organization. And this is just coming from the magazine. Okay. So, I personally, as the host, wanted to express that, and I'm sure that the Alumni Association is going to come up with their memorial in some form or fashion, because of her impact. I mean, she was president and had an enormous impact with changes there for the good, and everyone was delighted, from what I've seen, that the impact. So if we've got on a few comments there, but we're thankful to the people who are sending it in their comments, and someone said that she'll always be Miss Whitty Moore, 1963, and that's absolutely true. I think that. So, and the magazine certainly thinks that. That's why we're taking this time this evening. We're a revision of schedule, okay, based on these things. And it has not been a very good week, I think, for the whole community, in terms of witnessing so much bad news like this and deaths. I certainly don't get any satisfaction out of that. So we will.
Brother Edward, why don't we go to a commercial break?
Yeah. Okay. We can do that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. Yeah. So let me, April. Let me go over a few things if you don't mind. I'm gonna go over a few things about the magazine. If of course you can get the magazine online at www.wcmagazine.net to our website. We have some magazines that we keep in the archive there and for the past number of months, I suppose. And you can get the copy of the latest issue, which is the August issue, and it's entitled Artificial Intelligence. We thought it was some very important information regarding the pace of artificial intelligence, and we asked the question, are counties and state governments prepared? So get your copy. It gets a little rough sometimes when people don't know about what artificial intelligence is and how it's going to impact all of us. This is just like the internet. Okay, when that first came out, people didn't know what the impact that it would have, like right now, which is what you are using right now as the internet. But inside, however, we have some information on the unveiling. Well, not the unveiling, but from Georgetown, South Carolina, Mr. Steve Williams, who's a former columnist for the Georgetown Times, okay, is now writing regularly for us, and he submits the column to say that Joseph H. Hayne Rainey. I don't know if a lot of people know about Rainey, but when you enter Georgetown, you go down in the middle of Georgetown, the commercial district. You're going to see that name especially on the park. So Mr. Williams, who's formerly of the Georgetown Times, says that Joseph Haynes Rainey, Truth, Justice, and the American Way. He gives a good chronology of Mr. Rainey as being the first Black U.S. Congressman, not just in South Carolina, but this is nationwide, the first Black U.S. Congressman. And it's a real photo of him inside, and all of the people who he had to deal with, like President Ulysses S. Grant, the governor of South Carolina, Robert Kinston Scott. Gives a good rundown, including the U.S. Attorney General at that time. And you know how we're dealing with Attorney Generals today. I won't say any more about that, but we're dealing with that. So, good chronology and interesting reading. So, I implore you to go and I guess you can download it from the website. You can go there and read it. At least read it on the website. And so, and you know, a number of other things. The fold out. I wanted to say this. The fold out is a congratulations to the 50th anniversary of the Conway High School class of 1973. Okay. Now we had over 300 and some students that graduated that year from Conway High School, and we share them in the magazine. It's the fold out. So we could only put half of those students in this first edition, but look forward in the next edition, and you will see the other half, which is over 120 or more, because it was a total of 308. 308. Far cry from Whittemore, but that's how it occurred. Anyway, so we our next portion of the show, we have for you our councilman, Mr. Larry White, who is going to give us a rundown of some activities in Conway that probably some may include the last council meeting, but some of the things that are more important things. And Mr. White, you're going to share them with us, right?
As much as I can.
As much as you can. I know. That's why we got you on here. As much as you can.
I'd like to say good evening to you all.
Yes, sir. And they're glad to see you, man. So, and good evening to you. Mr. White, we understand there was some interesting things. You know, see, a lot of people don't get, even though the city council meeting is broadcasted on, they have their own broadcast venue, right? You know, I don't want to question about the number of people who actually look at that, but based on what we know, or what I know, I'm going to say that way I speak for myself. What I know, it's not viewed a whole lot, and some of the things are missing. So, but you were there and you're part of the meeting, so it'd be interesting. I think it'd be appreciated if you could kind of give us a rundown on some of the things that have, not just events themselves, but some of the things that have taken place that you think impact our community in general, and it needs to be brought out, okay, and talked about.
Again, I would say good evening to all of you. April, it's good seeing you.
Great seeing you too, Larry. How are you doing?
All right, I'm good, thank you, ma'am. And Mr. McQueen, I've seen you enough this week to last for a while.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. As far as city council is concerned, we have a quasi new council now. We have a new council member that has joined us, Alex Hyman, who was the former councilman. He's now a judge, and so we have now with us Mr. Autry Benton. And he's coming along, and he's being, you know, he's got to grow into us. We have been a close-knit group, and now we are learning and bringing him along, and I think he's going to work out real good.
Right.
Our last meeting we had Monday night, last night, rather. One of the topics that came up was about homelessness. And that's not just a Conway issue,
right?
But we do have a lot of homelessness in Conway as a result of the jail being in Conway. Lots of time, if someone is arrested in another town in Horry County, they bring them to the J. Reuben Long facility, and then when they get out, they sometimes might stray away or stay. This is the word I was looking for. Stay in Conway a little bit longer than what we might want them to. But it's not just a Conway idea or issue. So I think we need to get we have an organization within the city councils called the League of Cities. And that League of Cities is where all of the city council members from all of the 8 communities in Horry County get together and talk about issues of concerns. So I suggested last night that might be the place that we bring this up. But we got to get our city council people there. not just from Conway, but from all of the communities.
Right.
Because lots of issues that each communities are having could be something that another community have championed, if you would, or they have found a way or an answer to that problem. So by sharing our information about what's going on in our communities or what's happening that we are having problems with, that might be a good way, that would be a good way that we can address those issues as well. So rather than just shipping them out to someplace else, I kind of think that we need to talk together and that's not just a now thing. It's been happening for a while. Just that every time it comes up, it somehow, is washed away or forgotten about because it's not happening to somebody that, I don't know how to say this, but it just needs to be addressed often until we come up with a solution. The major thing I think is the problem is that we don't want them in my town. That's not the answer, so there's a better answer than that. So we want to make sure that we are thinking about that as well.
So Councilman White, so why do they send people from other counties? I assume it's for capacity, or they don't have something over there. But what counties, by the way?
Not counties. Not if I said that mistaken. Communities. Communities. Yes. Within Horry County.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not other counties sending their homeless here. No. No. It's just that it's happening, and because they might be arrested for shoplifting or whatever the issue might be, they're sent to J. Reuben Long, and then once they're released in Conway somewhere, and then maybe. They just don't go where they came from or something of that nature.
Right.
But we had to find out what we can do other than wanting to push them to another community as well. Something else of concern is within the city of Conway, we have a number of commissions and boards. And sometimes we cannot get people to fill those positions. And they are listing on our webpage. And we would love for as many of you that can and want to would apply for some of these positions so that you can have an insight about what's going on in the city of Conway. On these boards, you can learn a little bit more about Conway itself and what those boards do, etc. And it's not rocket science stuff for the most part. Some of it might become, but as far as getting on the board, that's the easy process. But you got to want to be on a certain board to learn what they are doing, etc. So we want to ask and invite you to get involved with the different boards and commissions in the city of Conway.
So how can go ahead, April.
What is the website, Larry?
Oh, you had to ask me that. I guess cityofconway.org or .gov.
Probably. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put it on the screen. I think it's .gov. Okay.
And then you can just scroll the various commissions and boards and decide if, I like that. Let me learn a little bit more about it. And eventually you make an application for that particular board you want to be on, and it comes back to council, and we would deliberate over the person's name and his or her qualifications, and then we'll assign accordingly. Okay. The get out to vote time. It's about that time again. We are Friday, matter of fact, there will be the re-election, not just for re-election, but for the campaign for the city council for November's election. We'll open up on Friday. And I'm certain that we will have a number of faces and people to apply to become city council people, and I do intend to do that as well. But the main thing is that we got to get people out to vote, and how we do that, God knows. But we do not do a good job of voting in Conway. Let me stick to Conway. In Conway, so we got to get some means of getting people out to vote. That's your civic duty. I remember the first year that I ran, and I think it was 2009, Miss Laura Great. She was like, say, almost 99 or 100 at that time. And I saw her coming from her home on Ward Circle area, coming to vote, and I just broke down and started crying because of the fact that this lady, here she is in her 90s, and she found a way to come out there and vote. And we have all these young people who are healthy, and I mean, not she wasn't, she was still walking around doing the whole thing, staying home by herself, etc. But we have these young people and adults. 18 and above, I use that number. We need to get you out to vote. You need to get out to vote. I know a lot of people that know me personally. I'm not voting. Why? They had all kinds of reasons and why they're not voting, but those reasons were not necessarily valid because anybody that does not have a record per se can vote. And even if you have had a record, you can get your record expunged if you take the time to do those things. So it's on us individually, us and or we got to get out there and vote and learn about who is running, what their platform is, what they stand for, and then vote accordingly or not, for that particular person or persons. But the main thing is to get out and vote. I remember when I was teaching school, I was teaching the kids about voting and the importance of voting. And one of the things was that my vote doesn't count. My individual vote does not count. So at that particular time, the persons that was running for mayor or one of the council seats, I wasn't too privy of. So I told them, I said, well, look, tomorrow I'm going to vote and I'm going to write in the name of Donald Duck. Nobody else's name is Donald Duck that's going to be, voting, if you would. So at that time period, they printed out the names, the numbers, of who got how much votes, etc. And so Donald Duck got 1 vote. So I took it back to school the next day to show my kids, this is how many votes Donald Duck got, 1, and that's my vote. Your name will not be printed as, besides whatever vote you do. But the thing was that I voted. They said, well, you wasted a vote. I said, no, I didn't waste the vote. I wasn't, voting for someone else that I did not like. But I know Donald Duck wasn't going to win either. But I did this to prove to you that your vote does count. So we have to, everybody can't do that, should not do that. But that was a teachable moment for me at that time. But we have to do that same thing or similar things to let the kids know that it's okay to vote. You need to vote. Many people, adults that have died, just to try to get to vote. And now that we have this ability, I'll use that word, we don't take advantage of it. And so we need to be more cognizant of the things that we can do. And this is how we make changes in the world, by voting, especially in politics.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that. So let me just deviate a little bit. Do you were there any new? I'm going to be a little specific and say projects that are by the city council that were on the books or that's scheduled to happen, and you think that the community should know about.
I would say yes. Well, one thing that is happening now is those what you call those things, not mopeds, but
Yeah.
scooters.
Yeah, right.
Those things, they are fun, if you would, but they also can be problematic. In that whenever the time run out, whoever that scooter is, when the time runs out, it stops right at a certain point. And sometimes to me, and I was one of those that voted against it, but I'm glad that it does come. It has come. Because it's a good avenue for the kids to have fun with, and some adults as well. But the only issue that I have with now that we've had some numbers presented back to us from the vendor, that the numbers are good for him, but just locating where they are when they stop at a certain point, who's going to pick them up within the hour, if that's going to be the issue, the plan. So they still have another 6 months trial before we officially turn them loose, if you would. But hopefully within this 6 months time period, that piece would be addressed as the pickup time, not pickup time, but pickup place or location, so that it won't be considered as litter, if you would. And we, the city, are allowing them to litter this community, and that's not what we want to do either. But so far, so good. The other thing is, another thing is, we were thinking in excuse me, in relation to Whittemore Park Middle School, we haven't agreed to anything about purchasing the building or leasing the building or obtaining the building from the school district. We're in conversation with them about that, but nothing formally has been done with that. The mayor last night said that she would do a possible ad hoc committee, excuse me, so that that group can be kind of like the organizers or the planners of what's going to happen in the building, etc. So that's a good plus. And so we are still working on that. Nothing definite has been said about what's going to happen if we're going to take the building or not.
So there's a good model. Well, I thought that happened to Howard High School in Georgetown.
Right.
I thought that came out quite well in terms of utilization of how they're doing it now. Has that been explored? I mean,
I would hate to say no, but I don't know. I don't know that piece. We haven't officially done that I know of. But
and not just that one. Other places that
correct.
that you look at and come back with some input as to what you can do with Whittemore Park.
And those things will be looked upon once we get to that point. Hadn't gotten there yet. Okay. As far as us even obtaining the building hasn't been officially done yet either.
Right.
So one of the city administrators was tasked last night to bring back information from the school district on that issue about what's the process or where we're going, etc. So, short answer, no, we haven't done anything. Haven't reached out to anybody formally that I know of.
Right. Because that's a lot of real estate.
Yeah,
and a lot of buildings that could really be used. Okay.
Correct. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, community needs that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a new arts program that's coming out. They are doing all kinds of art activities, and I forget the name of the group that's doing it. The city is co-sponsoring it, but there will be all kinds of activities, dance, your drawings, etc. That's going to be a good thing, and I'm hoping that could be something that is doing with good taste. And it looks like from the design that was given to us yesterday, it looks like it's going to be a productive event also. So we're looking forward to that. Parking, that's an issue. It's become an issue behind the city hall, if you would, that Scarborough Alley, if you would know that little. Last night I forgot that they were tearing up the street. They're doing some renovations, modification. I use that term to that area, and I'm coming to City Hall last night, and that's where I go in to park. And that's kind of late. I can't park tonight. There's wrong, all that mud and dirt and stuff was going on. So I had to go under the bridge and park in the parking lot where that boat is on the side of the wall there. So we do have parking places, just that folks, whenever they go downtown, they want to park right in front of the door of the place that they are going into.
Yeah, that's just tradition, man.
And we just, yes, right. And so we can't just do that all the time. So I was lost last night. I was almost late to city council meeting because I had to find another spot, to park in. So it's about just looking for spaces to park, because we have a lot, just that we don't want to walk too far. One of our former council members, we used to say that we don't have a parking problem, we have a walking problem. Folks don't want to walk. They want to drop off right at the door if necessary. So we're working on that, and we also have something that's coming up about 2-hour parking, so that whenever you are parking in a particular area spot downtown, you got 2 hours to stay there, and then you got to move. That hasn't happened to the true sense of the word yet, because there's some it might be AIs that word you were talking about earlier. So something's going to happen so that it can be electronically determine whether or not you were there for 2 hours or not, so that we won't have to go. We can't officially now mark the tires like we used to do back in the day to say that this car hadn't moved. It's been the same spot since, 10 o'clock this morning. Here it is 9 o'clock at night and it's still there. I'm just giving an example, but we used to mark the tires. Now there's going to be electronic something device so that, if you were there at 7 o'clock, you got to be gone by 9 o'clock or you'll be ticketed, etc. So that's something that's in the works coming out as well.
That's big time, man.
Yeah.
That's big time.
No, we get some pushback, but it's for the betterment of all. Because if you have a business, for example, and that one person is parked there all day long, nobody else can get in that spot, so that could be a loss to that particular business or whatever. So
Councilman White, before you go, the issue of an issue of affordable housing.
Oh yes, that's my pet peeve.
It's a pet peeve. You feel you comfortable talking about that this evening?
Yes, I am.
And it's at 8:03 now. So
my argument with affordable housing is affordable for whom?
Yeah.
A doctor, no names, nothing of that sort. They make a whole lot of money. Some of them do, I guess. I don't know. I've never been a doctor, but I'm just making an analogy. A doctor might be making $200,000 and me might be making $20,000. An affordable house to him, could be, 50,000, 70,000, whatever. But to me, that would not be affordable. So I even challenge the folks at the Municipal Association to change that terminology or to add to the terminology so that affordability based on what? Because it can't be apples to apples, because a doctor's salary and my salary is nowhere the same. So that wouldn't be affordable to me if it was affordable to him.
Right.
So those things are in the developing world, the development world, those developers, they have to work in this plan also, meaning that they'll maybe have a new development coming up. A certain percentage of those houses should be, medium to low income, availability rather than all at $250,000. That's not affordable to the average Joe Blow. So we want to try to work on that. And this has been something that the legislators are dealing with. So I'm hoping that would happen, that somebody would come up with a term or an addition to that about how affordable housing should be listed or talked about even. Oh. And as far as us in Conway, we have not done anything specifically with affordable housing, but it is on our radar. And every time we think about us, that word comes up, I'm on it. Affordable to whom? So that's what we need to address also. And that's something also we addressed at our Municipal Association and our League of Cities meeting. And I keep going back to League of Cities because that's an important thing. That's local government talking about local problems. So if we don't address our problems locally as city council people, the congressmen or senators in Columbia, they hadn't a clue, for the most part, because they got all these different congressmen and senators from across the state who are looking out for their constituents. So we got to be certain that we are getting to our local constituents that are on the state level to know what our local problems are as well.
Right.
Yeah. So we try to do the best we can with what we got. And I appreciate you having me tonight, and I hope I enlightened some. But one more thing I have to say before you go, may I? And that's about two things. One is the community garden. I have a community garden on Race Path Street. And we would love for you guys to come out and make a donation so that we can keep growing things. It's a non-paid garden. We just grow the crops, and we just ask that if you come out and get something, pull some weeds with you and throw that on the side so that we can keep the crops growing. Lastly, Friday night is football night, Conway versus Myrtle Beach. And this is the first time we got two coaches from Conway playing against Conway. So we want to make sure you go out and try to enjoy the game, and I'm hoping it's going to be a successful game for all, as well as a fun game as well. So with that, I thank you for allowing me to come in.
Before you go, what kind of food, what kind of crops you're growing at your
Right
garden?
now, the only thing that's left are tomatoes and butter beans. We are tilling up for the fall season now. So we're trying to get everything out of there now so we can till it up so we can let it rest for a little while. And then we'll be planting collards and mustards and fall stuff. So you got a couple more days because I'm ready to tear it down now because I'm tired.
Tear it down.
Yes, right. So we appreciate everything that the community has been doing for us and with us. And through us even. So, and you guys, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for allowing me to come, and to God be the glory. And my sentiments to Miss Annis Alston's family as well.
Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate your summary that you've given of the council meeting. All of those points, by the way, are very important that you were talking about, the topics. I assume that was the schedule from the council meeting. I can send them.
And I would also encourage you to come to council meeting. We're meeting at 4:00 in the afternoon, and usually by 6 or 7:30 we're out. Rather than when we were at 5, we stayed until sometime 9 o'clock. So we're hoping that you would take some time out and come and visit us, and just come and sit. You don't have to do anything, say anything. Just come sit and listen. Then maybe something might spark your interest. And what's the question, April?
I was going to say, y'all forgot I was here.
No.
One question. You have a question here in the chat, and I'm going to pull it up on the screen. It comes from, of course, she's the top fan every single week, Ms. Priscilla Fuller. She wants to know, how is the city going to address the issue regarding space at Rose Hills? And I want to know the answer to that question.
Yeah, that's a heated
question
for me too. I've asked that question more than one time. Yeah. What's going to happen when nobody else can be planted there? And no disrespect, but there has not been an answer to that yet. I even asked where I think it's the Baptist Association has a lot on the corner of Granger Road and 378. For a while, it was for sale. I even asked that we purchase that for that expansion. Seemed like it fell on deaf ears. But the one answer that I can say that I was given was that we're not in the funeral home business or the graveyard business. But at the same time, these are citizens in our communities that have been paying taxes all of their life, or most of their life, or a portion of their lives. So we need to help out with that situation somehow. So the short answer, I don't know, baby. But I'm hoping that something will come to that.
Right. And I hear you say, we're not in the in the funeral home business and all that, but when you are preparing for burial, you have to go through the city in order to make sure that your plot is mapped out correctly, and that's how you purchase your plot. So, you're kind of in the funeral home business. If you really think about it. Yeah, I agree. But to your point about the lot across the street, there was a new structure that was built right across from the cemetery. Is that residential, or what is that?
It looks like it's a residential.
It looks residential.
It does.
It looks residential. That was kind of weird to me.
Yes, right. And I don't know why or who is building that. So that's not something I'm privy to know. I can't answer that directly, but it looks like a house.
Well, the reason why I asked is because I believe there was always a structure there. I don't know if it was an old lodge or something like that. And so there's a new structure coming up, and to your very good point, I think there's a lot that, and this might be a great segment for another show, but there's a lot of, I guess, misinformation or lack of information about how you can be buried, or how the plots are mapped out at Rose Hill. I've heard some say, well, you can't bury in the old part. You can't bury in the new part. If you don't, have a family plot in the old part, you can't bury there. But the new parts of the cemetery are all filling up quickly. I even said, and I'm hoping not to go anywhere anytime soon, but I need to go ahead and purchase my plot. And a plot is
I did.
And a plot is not inexpensive. I think it's about $500 if it hasn't gone up. But the bottom line is that is a very valid question from Ms. Fuller, and something that I believe that I don't know if it's a city thing or what, but if it is a city thing, we need to dig into that quickly, right?
And I will bring that back up again. To city council, I'm speaking of. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I have, because I had to purchase me a lot also. I said, I ain't rushing to get out there, but
right. Trying to go nowhere
you're not going to be able to get anything out there, and then what's going to happen? So and I don't know whether the funeral homes, they should be working towards that, because they're getting some of that funding as well. So I don't think it needs to be just any one individual. But there are 3 major funeral homes in Conway that supplant there. So I think they could possibly be in the aspect of trying to find some land so that they can expand as well. But I don't know where that's going either.
So Ms. Fuller says they're not selling plots anymore. It now has to be done at death. I haven't heard that, but I'm definitely going to look into it.
Yes, right.
Yeah, it sounds like there needs to be some kind of consortium of the funeral homes that typically bury or, remains there, because that is something that, think about it, it's August. By December, there's no telling what, amount of land will even be available by the end of this year. You know what I mean? And so, and then another thing too, that I think is interesting is people try to chart their family histories and things like that. Larry, where can one go to find out where their loved ones are buried, especially those who were buried like in the, let's say before 1960?
Yeah, the Rose Hill Cemetery Commission, our board, they did that at a certain, not too long ago. They plotted all of the graves that were there, so that they could find, for that same, not necessarily for that purpose, but so that there would be a record of some sort. So I think it might be at City Hall, that listing, because it was sponsored, co-sponsored by the city, because it was one of our boards. So that information should be at City Hall somewhere, or the Rose Hill Cemetery Commission board, they should have it as well. One name that I can call on that board that's been there for a while, I don't know whether she's still on or not, is God, I just lost the child name. Martha Only.
Okay.
Queen Esther Rogers and Miss Queen Esther Rogers. They were on that group that was doing that. And Alfonso Hill. I think he was on that group as well. So those were some 3 names that I do know that were on there, and whether they're still there or not. But they were doing the mapping of the grave sites out at Rose Hill.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll definitely reach out, because I'm looking for some family records, and it would be interesting to see if there's anything out there. But more importantly, if that is one of the largest and most traditional cemeteries for the African American community, we will soon run out of land there. And so where do we go? You know what I mean? Well, keep bringing it up, Larry. Keep bringing it up. And Priscilla said it was news last week from City Hall. You got to check that out, Larry.
Yeah, because I don't be down there every day plundering per se, but I'll ask those questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay. Before you go, Larry, I know it's about to run out of time here. So is there expansion? Is there expansion in the back of the cemetery as you're going to the cross to the highway that leads to the new development back there? I thought I saw some vacant land back there, and that it could be an extension of the existing cemetery.
I think the rule is that you can't bury someone under live wires, electrical wiring.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's probably the drawback is in why there are no more graves after a certain point on there because of that.
Okay. All right. Yes. And the land that you were talking about right at the corner of 378 and Ranger Road, that's been consumed already? Has someone
I
got?
think so. I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. We should have acted upon that. What do you think the community can do as a whole? If the community took the reins on it and took the responsibility and said, "Hey, we're going to do something," what do you propose?
Well,
If the community wanted to buy land around there or something, or
the first thing is to find the land.
okay, all right, all right, that
I would
settles
think
that.
that would be my suggestion is if if you know where there is some land that's available and it would be suitable for grave sites, etc. All of that, I think DHEC has to be involved with that somewhat because it might be under a floodplain or something of that nature.
Yeah,
So for
yeah,
that reason, they're not going to just let you put a graveyard anywhere.
right, right.
So that all of that has to be looked into, I think. And I'm no expert on this topic, y'all. So I'm just giving you Larry's opinion, not City Council's
Yeah, yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
think it's
just need to
good.
make sure.
Yeah, it's good information on the restrictions that we are going to be challenged with.
Yeah.
Because I certainly didn't know that part about not being buried on the electrical wires.
Yeah.
What was there a reason? What was the? Certainly didn't expect people to come out
I
of the
don't,
caskets, do they?
no, I don't know that.
Edward,
I don't know that one.
Okay.
So
it's time to go.
we have to dig into that a little bit more, and that's above my pay grade.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Pay has a lot to do with it. Okay. That's a lot to do with it. Look, Councilman White, um, man, we certainly appreciated your time and all the input and all the information that you've given us tonight. And hopefully, we as a community will take it and digest it and see how we can act upon it. Help us to make decisions. Okay, on the coming weeks and months and days.
And I do appreciate the comments and questions as well. And Ms. Fuller, she's a regular at city council meetings, and so we can get more Priscillas to come to city council meeting that can keep all of us on our toes and get more things done that the community wants, rather than we sitting back and reacting after the fact. Okay,
Proactive instead of reactive. Yes,
that's right. That's right. So again, I thank you, and I thank you.
Brother Edward, can you talk Miss Priscilla into doing a segment on the show?
Yes,
on the weekly.
yes,
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying for that for a long time. I know she's listening. I know she's listening.
Come on, join me, cousin. Come on.
Yeah. Now that you said it, then maybe she be more an impetus to say that.
Right, Miss Priscilla, you've been called out, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, she's a wealth of knowledge. She's a wealth of knowledge. I mean, she's on top of something Larry isn't even on top of.
That's right.
Now, Larry, that says a lot.
That's right.
You usually on top of your game, right?
Yeah, so we need more of her
to
keep us on our toes. I'm going to work tomorrow. I asked that question in the morning.
As soon as you walk in the door.
That's right.
We love you, Larry. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much as well.
Have
a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, it was very enlightening stuff. I like to hear the city council updates, especially when you're getting into things that are like that. I think things that are more that you can relate to. Certainly talking about plots at Rose Hill and some of the other things you talked about, the affordable housing, the homeless population.
Absolutely.
How do we deal with the unhomed?
Absolutely.
Because the thing to remember is that they are human. They are people.
That's right.
And they're nomadic right now. They're just trying to find some place to live and be safe and be sheltered. And these are the things, Brother Edward, that we as a society need to pay more attention to and put more energy into versus some of the things that we choose to highlight and focus on in this world. It's really crazy. And I always say it every time I see an unhomed or homeless individual. I'm like, this is America. Wow, this is amazing to me. And I won't get into the depth of the politics of that, but I think it's incredible when you can send a boatload of money somewhere, but we got these kinds of problems here in the United States. And so, and like Larry said, that's everywhere. It's not just Horry County. It is everywhere, even in the places that you least expect. So
I'm just so surprised and shocked that it's not a political platform. These politicians use. Okay, I'm talking national platform.
I know what you mean, but like the elders and the ancestors used to say, that's too much like right. Politics is not going to be about what's right.
That's right.
Not always.
Right.
Not always.
That's absolutely true. That's true. But on a local basis, we have the tools to really do something about it.
We really
do have the tools.
The tools and the talent. The tools and the talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I was talking about the tools to do something about Rose Hill Cemetery.
Right.
It's there.
That's a critical issue. It's a critical issue.
It's there. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I'm sure Larry's going to dig into it now that he learned a little something tonight too, and hopefully we can get an update really soon. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it, and just want to say that we appreciate you leaving your comments. We appreciate you joining us every week. We will be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. with another great topic. I kind of like the news from World Community Magazine. We're gonna have to find some other people who are willing to come in and give some tidbits about a lot of things that are happening.
Absolutely,
I like that. So, well, thank you, Larry White, for being with us tonight. Thank you all for joining us, Brother Elwood. Thank you for doing what you do. We really do appreciate it.
Okay, April, do you want to reiterate one more time about Ms. Fuller being spokesman?
Listen, I can't cash in any of my family cards now. I can't cash in the family cards. We have Trump cards in the family, but I can't cash them in. But all I can do is wave it like this in front of Miss Priscilla and ask that she strongly consider coming on the show to be our correspondent for City Council News. I mean, you do it so well in the comments. Why not come and have a little, 5 or 10 minute segment? Look,
she can do it on the phone.
Let us know what we're missing,
If she's in a car or if she's remotely located from her house,
she can be remotely located. She can be right there in front of you. It doesn't matter. That's right. I see she's gotten really quiet in the comments. She's probably laughing and she's probably going to call me later. But but we definitely need to know this news on a regular basis so we can know how, we can be in tune to everything, but also we'll know what we need to hold our council members and government officials accountable for. So
look, that Miss Lawrence Patton, hey, don't leave her out. If she wants to join us and send in a little tad bit, okay, absolutely, okay.
Woo. Keep sending the great questions. If you send us some great questions and topics, then we can work on getting people to answer these questions and to talk about the topics. That's what we need, okay? We need some help with this show content. So, but again, we appreciate everybody for watching tonight. Brother Edward, you continue to have a wonderful evening. And I guess we'll see you next week. Same time, same station.
Same time, same station.
Yeah, that'll work.
Thank
you. All right, everybody.
Thank you, Miss April Garner. I'll stop right there.
Maybe one day soon, Brother Edward. Maybe one day soon.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.
Godspeed.
Good night.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.